Hello, everybody. Today I am comparing my design of Kaa versus the official endgame design of Kaa in Disney Heroes Battle Mode, which was just revealed somewhat recently. And I think this is a really cool opportunity because I've been doing these hero concepts, taking characters that people want to see and putting them into the game. And for the first time, we have actually gotten a character who I created before they were officially revealed in the game, and we're going to be able to take a look at just overall the art that I created, then the actual concept of the moveset. I've got the list of what I said, and I want to compare my somewhat predictions to what they actually chose for his moves, and then finally we'll talk about the friendships and then just wrap it up. So I want to start out by just looking at what Kaa actually looks like in the original Jungle Book. So I've got a few pictures just showing some angles and different scenes and different lighting of Kaa, so we can see some of the color choices and the overall personality of Kaa. And once we've gotten a good look at this, just kind of letting it go for a little bit so we can see everything there is to note about Kaa. Okay, so after that we're going to first look at the official in-game design, even though I know I created mine beforehand. I think maybe it'll work a little better if we look at theirs first and then compare mine to theirs. So here's the official look of Kaa, and I am very jealous, I would like to say, just right off the bat. The kind of coiling of the body was made very well. They somehow got the shapes of each layer of his I don't know what to call it other than his body, but it is done very well, and the lighting is great as always, and there's a lot more kind of texture going on, although for characters that don't have fur or anything, it's a lot less. We take note in the lines specifically, and then the pattern of the on his back, I guess. And then the eyes as well are pretty notable. He's got his tongue sticking out, which I did not do. But you can see it better in my original photo and then the photo we'll look at the end. But the mouth is pretty spot on to what I did. And the nose as well. The overall face structure I did a pretty great job on. The mouth is a little different. I think they did they had a better call on the mouth than I did for sure. And then the body as well is coiled instead of me. Well, maybe now would be a good time to switch over to my art. So for my design, I actually gave him the hypnotic eyes because the main reason I wanted to do Kaa was for that reason, was to actually get to make those eyes. I thought that would be a fun design, and I really liked the colors that they chose. And then my idea was that he would be off screen at all times, so his body would always just go to the back, and he'd just be kind of lurking in the back there. And obviously, thinking about it now, it makes a lot more sense to have him just sitting on the ground, and I'm sure it's a lot easier to control Kaa in general because of that. And then the lighting and colors I chose are just completely different. And I don't know, I honestly feel like the official designs is kind of dark. I feel like his colors are a little bit more vibrant, and maybe mine are too bright, but I don't know how I feel about the colors I chose for the in-game design actually. I think I actually prefer my colors in that regard, so I would give myself a little bit of a leg up on that specifically. But other than that, my lighting and shading on this one is especially not so great. And then the eyes aren't really comparable, but I really like the way that they did the eyes on the official one. And then, like I said, the nose and the lines on the face and the body, I think, are very similar. And I'm somewhat happy with my design, but I would have to say I prefer the in-game design just a little bit more. Just the shaping and angles of the body and like the neck, I really like. And I was never too proud of my final design for Ka anyway, so I don't think it's hard for me to say that I prefer the in-game design to mine. But maybe if we get, because I do really like some of the designs that I have, so it is entirely possible that one day I might do one of these comparisons where I actually end up preferring mine to theirs, but we'll see. So let's also go through the skills real quick. It's kind of hard to do this. Okay, so let's look at the first one here. It's uncoiled. His coils drop onto the closest enemy from above, and it deals normal damage, and then the enemy is also snared. So in my original video, which I have linked in the card, I don't know when I'll have that show up, but I plan to have that linked in the card, so you can also check that out. But I put in the video for one of his, actually two of his skills. One of them was that he wraps himself around the head of an enemy, which incapacitates them, which either means it would stun them or anything. But in this case, it snares them, so I think that's comparable. And then I also had another skill called, well, I had him actually dropping on the enemy, so like his entire body would fall out of the sky onto an enemy, which actually sounds pretty much exactly like what this is. And I have a clip in the original video of him actually falling on the ground, and if that ends up being what it looks like in game, I will be very impressed by my idea. Maybe in the future for these I should wait for them to actually be released in the game so we can see a little bit of gameplay and stuff, but for now we can get the gist. Then we have the Hypnotic Stare, which is basically charming an enemy. It has a few other effects, but the basis of it is charm, which I got exactly right. I had a few other ideas as well, but also my main idea was hypnotize. It charms the enemy. Then the next one is the Tail Grab, which Ka picks up the closest enemy with his tail and constricts them, which is kind of, again, similar to the one I had where he wrapped himself around the head of the enemy. Again, I don't know what the... because I looked at a lot of clips for Ka, and the way I usually choose skills is just by watching clips of some of their movements, which is especially easier for like Disney movies. It was really easy for Ka because he doesn't even show up in that many scenes, but I feel like I remembered something like that actually happening. I mean, he certainly like threatens to kind of squeeze himself around Mowgli, but I don't think he ever actually explicitly does so, but I could be wrong. So I'm not sure if they are referencing the same thing I am. It doesn't really sound like it, but he is a constrictor in a way, so I guess it would make sense for him to just do that. But I'm pretty sure they do have to take things from the source material, so that could have just happened and I missed it when researching. But the next one is Trust in Me. When Ka snares an enemy, he reduces their max HP up to a maximum. Not really something that I talked about. And then Snake Strike is basically just giving some upgrades to his previous moves. So again, nothing that I really talked about, but I also had another idea where he gets his tail stuck in like a branch or something, and it like knots up, and then he pulls on it, and then it snaps him and launches him forward, which I thought would be an interesting way to get an attack on all enemies, but obviously was not included in their moveset, but I actually do like the idea of that and would think that would make for a fun move. But all of the other moves that I talked about in some way were incorporated into his moveset, which I am fairly happy about. And then finally his friendships. So the official ones are Scar and Chip and Dale. To be fair, when I made the video, the Chip and Dale were not even in the game yet, so there was really no way for me to predict that one anyways. But I don't think I would have shed Chip and Dale regardless. But I actually really like the idea of Chip and Dale, so I'm not saying anything about that. But the friends that I said were Jafar, and then Russell and Kevin. So I actually kind of think Jafar is a better villain to pair up with Ka than Scar is. And I guess, again, we need to wait and see what their friendship is going to be all about. I guess Scar is an actual animal, so in that way it works out a little bit more. But Jafar has something like snake-like memorabilia, like his staff even has like a cobra head on it, so I thought that would be a fun way to pair him up with a villain. And then Russell and Kevin I just said because, again, the animal thing with Scar and also Chippendale, I guess. But also because Russell is a fairly naive kid like Mowgli, and I thought that they could interact in a similar way where Kaa would be able to kind of persuade him and Russell would be very naive about it. But yeah, it's, you know, the ideas that I came up with were somewhat similar to the ideas that the official game came up with, and in most ways I think they improved it, especially in the art. Again, I really, really like the actual design of Kaa. I was somewhat proud of mine until we saw the official one of the ones that they created, and now I'm not so happy with mine. But still, it was fun making it. The Kaa concept actually did really well, so I can't really complain. But yeah, it's cool to be able to compare this, and I would love to continue to do this in the future. I hope more characters that I have created get added, but also the kind of ideas that I'm creating characters that are kind of a dream for some people and are not as likely. Like some of those TV show characters are almost definitely never going to show up. But Kaa, I guess, was more likely than I was initially expecting. I was not expecting Kaa to be the first one I was comparing. But it's cool, and I hope some more get added. I would love to compare like their design to yokai to mine. But anyways, I've really rambled on long enough. I'm sure this isn't too interesting for most of you, but it's super interesting for me. And let me know what you think of my design compared to theirs. I'm sure most people would agree that theirs is just better in most ways, but I'm happy with the things that I kind of was equal with them, with like the skills and stuff. So, alright. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon. Goodbye.